Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again. Hey, today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So we have some freshly data mined information courtesy of Snap.fan, and it is about albums, everyone's favorite thing. So we have some new albums that have been data mined. As usual with data mines, these are not necessarily final, but I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at here for some potential future albums we might be getting not too far down the road. So if you haven't kept up on albums, they definitely launched with a fair bit of controversy, but from everything I've heard, they've actually been a fairly successful feature. And I think especially if Second Inner provides a way for players to access some of the new emotes without using albums, they'll generally be a pretty praised feature, if not one that people who aren't interested in will just end up ignoring. One of the main feedbacks on albums initially was the fact that it felt like they were just kind of hard to complete for a lot of players, and they have specifically mentioned putting out a Pixel album in the future, and that's one of the two data mined ones we're looking at here today. So the two we have here are a Steampunk album and a Pixel X-Men album. Now, one thing you might notice is that the Steampunk album has the Winterverse Bundle Destroyer. That is probably just an error in the entry in the data. They probably thought that was the Steampunk Destroyer, accidentally entered in the Winter one, as not only does it not fit the theme, but they have pretty explicitly said they will not be including bundle variants in albums at the moment. If you were around earlier in the year, you might recognize some of the Steampunk variants from the Steampunk Variant Rush. Variant Rushes are something they used to do, aren't doing anymore, where they had a limited time window where opening your collector's reserves had a chance in getting one of 5 exclusive variants. And we see 4 of those returning here in Bishop, Cerebro, Falcon, and Shocker. Now, given what happened with the Winterverse variants, where they decided to bring them back for Winterverse this year in the shop, I expect something similar is going to happen here with the Steampunk variants from that previous variant rush. So for Steampunk, we have Armor, Bishop, Cerebro, Destroyer, Falcon, Ghost, Hulkbuster, Moongirl, Quinjet, Shocker, Infinite, and Viper. And though we don't really have any concrete info on rewards here, one piece of information we apparently do have is that the Steampunk Apocalypse looks like it might be one of the rewards for the Steampunk album. And this would generally be in line with what we've seen with the Dan Hip Ongoing album, where the Dan Hip Cosmo was one of the possible rewards. Then Pixel X-Men, we have Jean Grey, Magneto, Psylocke, Wolverine, Storm, Polaris, Rogue, White Queen, Mystique, Professor X, Nightcrawler, and Cable. Now, one interesting thing about this is that typically, so far at least, I believe all the albums have been of Series 3 and below cards. Jean Grey is a notable exception here, and I would not be surprised if that was a card that got swapped out here purely for accessibility reasons. Obviously, you can't get the Pixel Jean Grey if you don't own the Jean Grey card, and I think since Jean is one of the less heavily sought after cards currently, she would probably make completing this album a lot more difficult. It's not entirely outside the realm of possibility, but I think it is less likely given the general trend we've seen around albums so far. But yeah, that's all the information we have here. I'll leave a link to snap.fan below, where we got this information from. Definitely interesting to take a look at and keep in mind for the future. All the pixels are obviously 700 gold ones like Dan Hip, so these ones will be a bit easier to complete compared to the other albums we've had recently. Not too sure about the Steampunk ones, but I guess we'll see. We saw with the Winterverse ones, a lot of them were coming back for 1200, though there were some 700s like Rogue available, so we'll have to see what those look like when they make their way back to the store. But if you missed out on those Steampunk ones in the Variant Rush, you will probably get another crack at getting them sometime in the future. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below about these albums, about albums in general, and maybe some themes you would like to see come in the future. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.